to Hager TV. I am so thrilled to see you again this week. We're having a very special episode today. Very much needed information.
Yes.
I know that I am not qualified to speak of this other than my own experience, so I brought in a professional. You guys, ladies and gentlemen, with me today, I'm so excited. A Michigan native, actually. You can find her on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Kelly's Reality, it's called. She is a licensed professional counselor.
I am.
This is very exciting. I'm so glad because I really need, we need some insight. All of us do.
Yeah.
You guys, please, warm welcome for Kelly Hausman.
Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Imagine there's a round of applause.
Yes, I hear it. I feel the energy. Full disclosure, I have not gotten more than 3 hours of sleep last night.
Oh my goodness.
We're just going to kind of keep it real.
I wish I could look like that after 3 hours of sleep.
I don't know how I do it. I always say I basically either look like supermodel or homeless, and there is no in between. It's like one or the other. I think motherhood does that to you. I have kids that don't sleep, and never fails. They must have radar for when I'm trying to do some kind of work or speaking or video. They know to just keep mom up all night.
Oh my God.
I got some notes going. I'm going to try not to just stare at you for 20 minutes with like a zombie face, but we're going to do this. I can do this.
Well, I love, we've got to do shows together before, and I love talking to you. Your insight is so real, and you get right to the nitty gritty, and we're traveling through some unknown waters right now as a nation, as a world, with this pandemic.
Yep.
And for people in Michigan, we just got news that we're going to be, kind of semi-shut down again for 3 weeks, looking like it's probably going to go longer than that. I mean, that's what rumor has. And I know I've heard of this pandemic fatigue or COVID fatigue. I've heard this thrown around. I have it.
Yep.
Like, I definitely feel it. As a performer, I haven't got to be out with people. I haven't got to be, seeing their faces and on stage and making people laugh and smile. And it takes something away from you that you don't realize you want and need.
Yeah.
And we need help from the professionals. How do we get through this, Kelly?
Sure. The first thing I keep telling everyone, and if you notice our lovely visual aids over here, back in the day when I used to have an in-person office, I would always put posters up like this because sometimes we just need that visual reminder. This too shall pass. Even in one of the press conferences yesterday, the lead physician was saying, this pandemic will end. And I think that's one thing to keep in mind. Imagine you're watching a movie. We're pushing pause right now. This is not the end of the movie. This is not the ending credits. It's simply a pause. We will get through this. This will end. Doesn't take any of the emotions or lessen them.
Right.
But no, like anything. I mean, we're going into the winter season here. Everything's a season. We will get through it. We will come out of this. And we literally take it one day at a time.
That's awesome. And it's easy to get caught up in the end game. Like
Yep.
I got to speak. I heard this yesterday several times. I'm just so panicked if I have to be indoors all winter. Well, okay. And I get that because I go there too. I'm like, the whole winter I got to stay in my house with my kids again and teach them school, which I'm not qualified to do at all. They're, what are they going to do? I mean, I might as well just buy them DJ equipment right now. That's, they're going to be a DJ or a roadie. That's going to be it for them, which I'm sure they'll be great at it. It'll be fun.
Win-win. They could help produce the show.
Exactly.
And I don't see anything wrong with that.
You're just like,
It's a lot.
So one day at a time.
Yep.
I mean, that's huge to just, okay, let's get through today.
Yes.
Let's do today.
Yeah.
And I mean, what about the people that already kind of are on that brink? They already have, depression issues. They already have, a poor mental health. They get inside their own mind. They suffer with those things. I mean, this only compounds that, right?
Absolutely. And I'll say, too, I have my own private practice, and I have never been as full or consistently receive as many new client emails each week. So I know it's something. I don't think any of us are immune to this now. It's really hitting us. And a lot of times people, when I say, obviously I wouldn't be a good therapist without saying, maybe now is the time to think of therapy if you haven't done it before. And I know it's a lot of kind of stigma around it. What is therapy? So many people think it's just laying on a couch with some old dude who's scribbling notes and nodding, and how does that make you feel? And it's not that. What I describe it as, if you think of your best friend who's the most non-judgmental person you know, and then you multiply that by 10, that's what you get out of therapy. You don't have someone judging you or jumping in with their life story as well. A lot of times we just listen so we can talk and then butt in. With therapy, it's an hour of someone really trying to decipher and we have a lot swirling around in our head. Our job as therapists is to let you talk this out and then help you make a plan to get through it. So right now, especially, I think is a good time to, if you haven't thought of therapy, maybe looking into it. And there's a lot of options too. For finding people, I recommend Psychology Today. You can search for profiles. And also, if finances are a concern, there's an amazing program called Open Path. And these are all licensed therapists on there who charge between $30 and $60 a session. So it's very affordable. Not a lot of people know about it, but it's awesome too. And so, yeah, you find someone on there. Therapy is affordable. It's such a life-saving measure.
Right.
I have personally done it. That's what drove me into the fields. I would not be who I am today without my amazing therapist.
Aww.
And, I practice what I preach. I think there is such power in, again, just sharing your story and making a roadmap. And maybe now is the time for someone to dive into that.
Well, and all that stuff, I mean, even as a comedian, being on stage, talking out loud, it gets a lot of this stuff out of here that's bouncing back and forth, and then they kind of get mixed together, and it gets it out. I mean, anybody that's been to a comedy show has probably seen a comedian kind of go off on a weird tangent and then stop and say, oh, well, I'm glad I got that off my chest. Thanks for listening, guys. Like, that's a real thing. And so imagine having that privacy and that, kind of intimate time with one other person, even now through Zoom or through the telephone or, however you're trying to, combat the pandemic part of it, to talk it out loud and then get some encouragement. I love how you said that. We are here to help you decipher a plan.
Yes.
Because that's the thing, you get so panicked and you get so overwhelmed. What the heck is the plan?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And our society is so fast-paced. We do not reward slowing down, having great conversations, even with my best friend, even with my husband. A lot of times I'm finding I just don't have the time to really, okay, can I sit and please just tell you all my fears and hopes and dreams and phobias for an hour? Even the best person is going to have a hard time doing that.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people will say to me, oh, why am I just paying you to be my friend? And I say, you're not paying me to be your friend. You're paying me to help you learn how to be your own friend and how to get these tools so you can cope with a pandemic, a phobia, a relationship issue, childhood trauma. So again, I wouldn't be a good therapist without really, that's probably one of the best things we can do now is find a good therapist if you're really struggling.
Yeah, that's and why is it that some people are kind of seem too proud to go there? Like, what is that stigma?
It's a lot of this notion of I should be able to handle this on my own. And again, I think our society rewards epic multitasking. Not only do you have to be a mom, you have to be the perfect mom and look perfect. Your house has to look perfect. Your kids are perfect. And you have to do it on your own without help or you get shunned. So it's the same thing kind of, our society doesn't reward that. But I know the tides are turning. I see so much more. People are talking about therapy now. They're talking about medication, asking for therapist recommendations. I've seen an increase in men coming to therapy, which has historically been a very low population to seek treatment. So I'm really hopeful about it. And I always say everyone can benefit from therapy. Everyone.
Yeah.
There's always something to work on, whether it's childhood, past, present, future.
Right.
We can help you out.
Oh, that's
and
so cool.
It can be funny too.
Yeah.
Like, I am pretty serious in my sessions, but we're always laughing. It's laid back. It's kind of like talking to a friend, but I'm not going to be butting in with how tired I am or how my kids kept me up. So it's just, again, it's just such a great experience, and I'm living proof that it works.
That
and
is awesome.
I practice what I preach.
Well, and here, so you just said it, especially for women, all the girls out there listening, that this multitasking pressure that we're under, like you got to be a perfect mom, you got to have the perfect house, you got to make these beautiful meals, you got all this stuff. And, you know, as an outsider, I haven't known you that long, and I love everything about you. I tell people, I'm like, she's got a heart the size of Texas. She's just a piece of gold. I can't believe you just like dropped out of the sky and I get to know you. I mean, you're a phenomenal human being. But as an outsider looking in, you appear that way. You appear to be the perfect mom. You look like you have the perfect house. All your pictures are perfect. You have the rockin' body. You have beautiful hair. And so like it would be easy for someone like me even to compare. So to sit here and hear you say like I regularly engage in therapy, and it has gotten me through so many things. I mean that is astounding that you can even say it out loud and be proud of it. That is so inspiring to so many people, and a lot of us just went, oh, thank God.
It's funny you say that too, because a couple weeks ago I actually had a client say, oh my gosh, you seem so perfect. You wouldn't know about any of this. And literally, I just had a Facebook post. My sister and I went to Vegas for her bachelorette party. We got into a huge screaming match on the Las Vegas Strip to the point people were watching us. This was several years back. I got so mad at her. I flew home standby, left her bachelorette party, had this epic fight. And I was laughing about it on Facebook last week. And a couple people wrote in. They're like, you scream at people? I don't believe it. I can't imagine you doing that. And then my husband chimes in. He's like, oh, well, maybe you should marry her. That seems to bring it out. And it's so funny because it kind of goes back to perceptions that we have. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys, if you would have saw me yesterday, yes, I have trouble. I get really frustrated. I yell at my kids. Again, like I'm a work in progress too.
Right.
And I think that's what we all are. Like we're all works in progress. We're all trying to get 1% better each day. And like we're all human. Too.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I'm right there with you guys. And it's just, don't believe
awesome.
everything you see online. I'll say that much.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's our job to put our best foot forward. You know, you want to be real, but you also want to be attractive to your audience. And that's something I know I've suffered with too, is trying to understand what is the balance to where you don't, I mean, some celebrities that hit certain statuses become so out of this world. Like, they're not real anymore. It's not even a real person. It's a thing.
Yep.
You know, it's just a thing. It's a situation. You can't even relate to it. So you want to be relatable, but you also want to be attractive to your audience. And that's a tough spot. So it's super cool that you talk about that out loud. So funny story about me having my very first experience with therapy was forced on me. Back when I was 20 years old. I wasn't quite 21. I got pulled over drinking and driving. And I was, thankfully, I had, no other things on my record. So they kind of took it easy on me, but they also were like, this is not cool. And I got ordered to have 10 alcohol therapy sessions. And in this very small county I lived way up in the thumb of Michigan. So it's not like, there's therapists just running about all over the place. So it was very individual and it was very private, personal. It was me and a lady. She was amazing. And I mean, in the first 10 minutes of talking, she's like, okay, I'm going to stop you. You clearly don't have a drinking problem, and I'm not going to waste these 10 precious hours that we have over time together on alcohol when I could help you with something real. Let's talk about, I want to hear about you. How'd you grow up? Tell me about you as a kid. Tell me. And we dove into some things that I had no idea were holding me back. And then at the end of those 10 sessions, I ended up going, I think 3 or 4 more times. And I got hooked. And I just thought, this is incredible. I would never know that these situations from when I'm 7 years old are still affecting me now at 20 years old. I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm so glad I got pulled over. It would have never happened. So when we met and talking about, what you like to do and how passionate you are about it, I was like, oh man, this girl's got it figured out.
And again, I do have a lot of it figured out because I've done the work. I've done years and years of therapy. I still do it. And again, like, I think that's kind of the key. And also too, I'll say, you don't have to share your story. There's a whole thing like smash the stigma, share your story. if you don't want to talk about going to therapy, if you don't want to talk about mental illness, you do not have to. Like, you do not need to be a martyr out there sharing your story unless you want to. Therapy is confidential under most circumstances. I never say a word about who my clients are, what we talk about, any of that stuff. So your secret is safe, and it's the one place that you can say, like, oh my gosh, I really can't stand my mother-in-law or whatever. Sorry to my mother-in-law who's undoubtedly going to watch this, but just an example.
It was just an example.
It's just an example.
And my mother-in-law is watching my kids right now, so we can do this, and it wasn't about you either.
Oh, yes, just hypotheticals here. So it's such a great place. And sometimes too, like you said, how you're coping with the pandemic now, some of it might be situational, but some of it might be lack of coping skills from something growing up or your attachment style or whatever it is. So like we can figure that out, but we can also give you tips for moving forward too. And one of my favorite things, we can actually do a breathing exercise right now. It's so simple, and it's something you can do in your car, at your desk, if you're about to explode on your kids. Like, you can just do this anywhere, and I call it the Take 5 method. So basically, you're going to breathe in through your nose for 5 seconds, hold it for 5, and then exhale like you're breathing out through a straw. So I'll kind of walk you through it. So we'll just inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then exhale like through a straw, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it tells, your brain is telling your body to just like slow down, breathe, get some oxygen. And this is stuff, again, it's so basic, it's free, we don't do it enough. And it's in that space between that stimulus and your response that we can slow down, take a breath. That can help us get through the pandemic.
Wow, that's
just
so
breathing.
calming.
Mm-hmm. And it's not yoga, it's not meditation, but it's just like taking some breaths, intentionally breathing. That's one thing. A lot of times I'll start my sessions with that. If someone comes to me and they're really flustered and had a tough day, I'm like, all right, let's do some Take 5 breathing. So that's a great way to just kind of jump into it.
Yeah, and why is that never on the forefront of our brain?
Again,
to stop and take a breath?
Because our society is so fast-paced. Think about it. I mean, our phones are never out of our hands. We're always scrolling. We're always trying to multitask and get 10 things done at once. So it's taking it back to basics for us. And just like the basics of breathing is so simple but so effective.
So very personal to me, and I know there's thousands of people out there, millions, that are going to need this also. What is some specific advice for the moms out there and the dads, the moms and dads, that are dealing with the virtual school encumbrance on their schedule? Like, especially I think about the single parents that are trying to work 40 hours a week, and then now they have to teach their kids full time. I have kids in elementary school, which is just like insane. I mean, their attention span is probably that long.
Yeah, if that, right?
and they can't do anything on their own. They can, but they can't. And it's, I'm fortunate enough to have the time. My husband works, he does great providing for us, and I'm just a comedian staying at home teaching my kids. Yeah. But I mean, the stress of even going to sleep at night, thinking we have to wake up and do school, I just lay there with my eyes open, and sometimes just tears fall down my face. Yeah. And it's just because I want my kids to have a chance. Every parent wants their kid to do well. I mean, I think most parents do. And that's all that just weighs me down, is that my kids aren't going to have a chance. I can't teach them. I'm not smart enough. I barely made it for school. And my friends Sarah and Jessica are watching right now from grade school. I copied most of their work to get through 8th grade. I mean, you know what I mean? I just feel so insecure about it. So what can a parent do to just calm their mind down and just try and tackle it? What do you think?
Waking up each day and telling yourself, I'm going to be good enough. This is not the time to, be the perfect mom, be the perfect teacher, keep the perfect house. Just be good enough right now. And good enough is good enough.
Aww.
And just honestly, you will get through this. This will pass. This is not going to traumatize your kids. They're going to be okay. You guys are going to be okay. Just be good enough right now in everything that we're doing, whether you're working from home, whether you have kids, whether you're, on the front lines, being good enough in everything is okay. We have too much pressure, and
Yeah.
especially now is not the time to like put pressure on yourself. Not, maybe now is not the time to train for a marathon or to whatever.
Right.
But you can be good enough each day, and that's all your kids need. That's all we
Right.
need.
Right.
I just want someone who's good enough and that loves me, and that's it.
Aw.
That's all.
I didn't think this was going to be so emotional.
I'm used to having some tissues in my office. I would
I
slide
know, we
them over.
definitely should have got some Kleenex out of the bathroom. Oh my gosh. Kelly, you are amazing. Can you give everybody some resources again that they can get in touch with? And are you taking on anybody new?
I have a couple I'm pretty full right now.
Okay.
But if you're in the state of Michigan, always reach out. I can let you know if I have availability. If not, I have a really big network of other people in the state and also
Very
outside
cool.
of the state to find your perfect therapy match. It's almost like dating. Sometimes you have to go through some therapists. You got to find someone who aligns with you and that you feel comfortable with. And kind of just my final advice, too, is just asking yourself, what sort of person do you want to be as you go through this pandemic? How do you want to treat yourself? How do you want to treat others? We can't control the thoughts that come in our head. We're going to be scared. We're going to be sad. We're going to miss out on stuff. But you can control, okay, I want to be someone that my kids remembered that mom was funny. We laughed through homeschool.
Aww.
Or, okay, maybe my house wasn't perfect, but like I enjoyed being home. I enjoyed being home with my partner. So controlling that too, and also too, sometimes asking yourself, what can I do right now today that's going to improve my life or the life of someone that I'm living with? Or if you live alone, what can I do to improve my community? And maybe that's laughing more. Maybe that's donating to a local food bank. But trying to do something each day that, whatever the answer is to that, engaging in it fully and pushing that energy forward. It helps to kind of channel that nervous energy too.
Aw, great advice. Very strong
Try
advice.
to take it.
Yeah,
It's easy to say it. But like, all right, I need to work on yelling at the kids less. And yeah.
Well, and they do have a way of frustrating you to the point where you snap like a rubber band, and then you're like, did I just do that? Oh my gosh.
And then you feel terrible. It's a lot.
I can tell you one thing I have learned through this pandemic is how to apologize to my children.
Yes.
And that has been very good for both of us. Sometimes they run off and pretend like, whatever, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, I can tell I really hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, Mommy is sorry.
Yeah.
I definitely flew off the handle, and that wasn't called for. And their response will blow you away. Sometimes they are so rubbery that we don't give them enough credit. Especially my oldest, his response is sometimes like, well, Mom, I was screwing off. And I'm like, yeah, you were. Come on, dude. Get it together. Come on. So how can people get in touch with you?
Sure. So my website is kellysreality.com. I don't know why I kept that for all these years.
I love it. I think it's awesome.
I created that blog probably over 10 years ago, pre-kids, But if people want to find me, they can find me on there. On Instagram, I'm at Kelly Houseman. So, reach out to me. Again, I'm always happy to provide resources, whether it's for therapy, mental health, laughing, whatever. Just reach out. If you need some human connection, talk to me. I'm usually attached to my phone, so I'll respond back to you.
That's great. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing
deep.
this.
I feel like I should count this as a counseling hour.
I think I got to pay you more. Oh, that is so good. And you guys hang in there, stay strong. Again, don't be afraid to reach out, find yourself a therapist. If you have had some really great therapy experiences, I would love to hear about them in the comments. I would love to hear what you learned from it and how you're getting through this pandemic, and we're going to get on the other side of this.
Yes.
This is not the end of the world.
Exactly. This will end. This is a pause. It's going to press play. It's going to get back to normal. This too shall pass. Just every day if you have to tell yourself this too shall pass, okay, but also the radical acceptance of, yes, this is going to pass, but I can't live in the future. I have to live now. We're in a pandemic. That's the reality of this. All right. Okay, who do I want to be going through this? Who do I want to look back and be like, okay, I got through this. I was okay. So choose to be that person and choose to live that life all the way through this.
Oh, you guys. All right. We're out of time. We're going to end this, but we got a part 2 to this.
Yeah,
and
why not?
Why not?
We need a part 2, yes.
I can't bring her all the way in here for 20 minutes.
And
Come
waste
on.
a good blazer on just one video. Yeah.
We got the curling irons
yes.
out.
I have some volume today, so.
You guys, there's a really exciting part 2. We got some fun shenanigans to talk about and something really cool that Kelly just did. I'm going to call her out in this part 2. I know she's going to hate it. She's going to hate it. She wants to be totally anonymous, but I'm going to call her out. So tune in here right in the next week or 2. You'll see a part 2 posted to this with Kelly Houseman. You do not want to miss it. Thanks for being here, guys. Bye.